All right, so if you watch that Kung Fu Method, I'm sure there's a huge mathematical proof on why it happens, how it works, the mathematics between proving that it always works. The thing I know is I've tried it with a bunch, it works, okay? It just, within a couple steps here, instead of going through all those different possibilities, it's going to end up factoring it for you and having it done in no time. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to end up showing you, right, how that Kung Fu Method would have worked. For this example here, all right, so we take the one that has a negative. This is about as complicated as it's going to get in this section. We have a negative, right? So the first thing we do, we can pull out a negative. But for here, now all of a sudden, right, we're going ahead and we're trying to figure out how do we factor this down without having to go through all those different options. If you remember, like they said there on that Kung Fu Method for this, I'm looking at, right, I've got myself a problem where there's no negative, right? It's positive. So the first thing we got to do, we got to make sure we don't have negatives, right? One thing we always want to do is make sure we don't have a negative in front here for what's called A, because this is A, B, and C. We want A to always be greater than 0, greater than 1, greater than 1 in this case, so it's always going to be some positive number. But it throws us for a little loop, right? So this is where, again, this, quote, Kung Fu Method is going to come in. So if I keep track of my negative, I'm just going to put that on the outside. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this, as he said in the video. Just go ahead and rewrite it without the 4 in front. So we're going to write it as x squared plus 8. And then what he was saying is go ahead and take my two numbers here. Take my a here and my c. If we call this a, b, and c, we're going to take the a and c. We're going to multiply them together, right? So a times c right here. And that's going to give us 4 times negative 5 is going to be negative 20. So you just go ahead, right? We now have nothing in the front. This is going to make it easier. Why the math works on this, I have absolutely no clue. I mean, I sure can go through and do a proof. But again, we just take the equation, we rewrite it. So x squared plus 8. And then we just multiply these two, my a and my c, together to get negative 20. And so now at this point, this is going to be something that can factor. Because we've chosen two numbers to multiply together, we know we get this. So this is going to factor. All right, so what we have to do now is, right, we can factor, and I'm going to keep track of my negative here. Right, and I'm going to go ahead and, right, put myself a parentheses here and a parentheses here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to solve this. So again, I know I have an x and I have an x. And now what I'm trying to do, very simply, is I'm going to figure out, right, what multiplies together to get negative 20 that also comes out to 8. Right, so I sometimes use this thing, little x right here. I'm just going to do this to keep track of this. So I'm trying to figure out what do I multiply together to get 8, or to get negative 20, that when I add it, it comes together to get 8. And when I look at my terms, right, it's going to come out to, the different ways to get 20 are, right, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 and nothing, no, 4 and 5, and that's basically it. So the only ones there that have even a chance are going to be 2 and 10, because 2 times 10 is going to be 20, and 10 take away 2 is going to be 8. So those have a shot at even working here. The thing is, I have to make sure that it comes out to a positive 8 and a negative 20. So for that to happen, that's going to be a negative 2. All right, so I go ahead and I take a look. And so negative 2 plus negative 2 and 10 comes out to 8. Negative 2 times 10 comes out to negative 20. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite those. Right, I looked at all my options. And so this comes out to minus 2 and positive 10. Okay, from the video where they taught us about this little shortcut, right, the only thing we do now at this point is we go ahead, all right, we have this set up, right, we removed that 4. We're going to take that original 4 that we had, not the negative 4, but the 4. Because when we first started solving this whole thing, we just had 4 right there. I'm going to take that 4, and I'm going to divide this by 4. Again, the 4 is coming from up here, my a. Divide by 4. Right, that's my a right there. And so if I go through and I do this as they showed in the video, some things simplify right here. So if I rewrite this, again, I'm going to keep track of my negative. All right, I'm going to keep track of the negative that's in front there. And so I'm left with x. 2 divided by 4, that reduces down to 1/2. X minus 10 divided by 4, right? 2 goes into both those, so that reduces down to 5 over 2. And then what they said at this point, right, is so again, right, this 4 came from my a here, right? I just reduced everything. So now we just go ahead and we put this back up in front here. And so when I do that, I am left with, right, negative, and I'm left with x, or I'm going to put the 2 in front there, so I'm left with 2x minus 1. All I did is I took that the number that was on the bottom of the fraction there, I brought it forward. Again, after simplifying my fraction, I bring this 2 to the front here. So this is going to be 2x, right, plus 5. So I literally just picked it up like Lego and I put it here. I picked it up like a Lego, put it here. And that right there is the actual factor of this, right? And again, why it works, I'm sure there's some kind of proof. I went on a Khan Academy and I think they do some kind of proof because a lot of times it's always dealing with multiplying the A and the C together, ends up falling somewhere into the proof. It works. That's what I know. So again, if you want to watch that video again, or you want to walk your way through this, keeping track of this as we do it, right, it works every single time. So you can go through, you can do the long method where you make the little table and you go through all the different stuff, or again, you can, right, figure out what's going on there, take some notes, and let it work for you every single time, and watch that video for the one I just showed you. Again, the thing I love about it too, it's only 2 minutes long. It's like maybe 2.5 minutes, and so there's other ones that are like, 10, 15, 20 minutes long. 2 minutes, get you the point right there. I think it's the greatest little shortcut in the world. All right, so today just finish up the few more examples we may have below, and then we'll give you a page out of the textbook there to try out a few problems, and then I'll have an answer key that also has the answers so you can check if you've done them correct. If I post any pictures to it, it's not going to be a full video like this. It'll just be the problem actually worked out so you can see my work for it. So we won't do a video for every single one. We'll probably give you a few problems out of the book to try today and a little bit tomorrow on Friday. Right? So again, as you do that, that is more also always practice for you. I will do some out of the assignment that I give you. But again, usually the book gives you a whole bunch. We'll let you practice if you want, but I'm going to actually do the answers, probably like 5 or 6 of them. They're kind of the key, most important ones that kind of demonstrate the process of what's going on. And that's basically all it's going to be doing, is anything that's online where you're entering in the actual answers. So you write them out on paper, you do that for yourself. If you want to send me a picture of it, you can. That's not as important to me as you're just answering whichever ones are actually on Google Classroom, right? So for me, so don't worry about, if you don't need to do all those problems, but you want them for yourself, that's always one thing. But again, for me, I just need those few that are going to be on Google Classroom today and tomorrow for your check-in. I know I've got a daughter that's doing this also, so I'm realizing from the student point of view how hard it is to try to keep track of all the different classes, all the different things you're doing. So for me, anytime you're doing stuff, the only thing that has to be ever turned in, the actual Google fake quiz. Again, I'm using the template of a quiz just to be able to import videos and questions and stuff so you can check them. I know people keep asking, hey, does it matter if my answer is different than what the answer is there? It doesn't, right? Again, if you're putting a multiplication sign here, or you're putting this set of parentheses behind in the front, it doesn't matter the order. So again, you're just trying to see, does your answer come close to or look to? I would still trust Photomath, because again, Photomath's a great way. It's made for problems like this. So, right, trust what the answer is. Just realize that sometimes your answer, maybe the brackets or the parentheses are in different spots, but the exact same thing. So always double checking, right? So again, trust that you're doing it right. If you have questions, that's again what the Flipgrid will eventually be for. If you want to go ahead and ask me a question or two on Flipgrid, or you want to do it onto YouTube and then send it to me as an attachment onto an email, that'll work also, right? So good luck with everything. Enjoy this, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see how everything goes next week as we go into week number 2 of this wonderfulness.